Hi everybody, my name is Joanne Ferreira and my business is called The Passionate Plan, and thank you for joining me tonight as we're going to focus on some smart strategies for dealing with stress no matter what or who. Not that any of us really has any of that, right? So thank you for joining me. How many of you let's take that again. Grab a piece of paper and write the 5 people that you can think of that you care about or care for the most in your life. So just write the initials, or if you don't have a piece of paper, just think of them really quickly. 1, 2, okay, thought of 5 people. How many of you included yourself on that list? And if you did you include yourself at the top of that list? Many of us will not have included ourselves on the top of that list, and often we wake up at the start of the day feeling like we are at the bottom of a long list of things to do and people to care for, yeah? Okay, so nod your head, I can see you, right? So according to Stats Canada, 1 in 4 people feel overwhelmed and stressed every single day of their life, and that is like an alarming health crisis for us. So I'm going to show you, if I could show you some strategies to deal with stress no matter what. I hope that this would be a good use of your time tonight, because I'm sure I'm interrupting Netflix, right? Listen carefully. The big idea for this training tonight is this. There will be stress. There will always be stress. And in fact, research has shown us that we need some stress in order to stretch and grow and want to get out of bed every day. However, sometimes we have just enough, and sometimes we have like everything falling on our heads at the same time. I want you to understand that you can become a wall, a doubly reinforced steel wall, no matter what is going on or who is going on in your life. The waves of stress will come as small, gentle waves sometimes, or sometimes they can hit us like a tsunami. But I want you to know that you can always be the wall, and you don't have to crumble according to the circumstances or people around you in your life. Now, would that be good? That would be awesome, right? You're going to see me refer to my notes tonight because I'm going to go in depth a little bit, and I hope that's okay with you. So I want you to become a wall that the waves can bounce off of. So let's just move right on to the first strategy that's going to help you beat that stress, manage and be that wall no matter what or who's going on. And that is the power of knowing how to invest your energy wisely. So imagine, for instance, that you had $100 every morning when you woke up to spend on your entire day. That's your energy allowance for the day. There are things that you think, say, do, feel that bust the bank. They're really expensive. They drain your energy and it's done. And there are some things that actually make your investments grow, give you more than $100. The things that make your money energy grow would be things like going for a walk in the morning, exercising, getting enough sleep, time with a pet or a loved one, things you enjoy, being in the present moment. So those are credits, right? What about things that bust the bank? What about things that make us feel exhausted even though it's only 10 o'clock? Let's look at those, because those are what we're going to focus on. So imagine that I drew a circle, I drew a circle, and that was you or me in the middle of the circle. It's morning, I wake up, and I open my eyes, and I start. It goes like this, and usually it's a repetitive habit that we get into. I open my eyes and I think, oh my God, it's morning. and if I'm a person in the working world, I think, oh my God, it's Monday, it's not Friday as yet. And if I'm self-employed, I'm like, oh my God, all the things I have to do today. So I'm already, if I was to draw a line from that circle out and I wrote work, right, or things to do today, I'm already stressing myself and putting myself in negativity. And then I might look over at whoever's sleeping beside me and go, oh my God, why didn't I marry for money, right? What? And then I start thinking things about that person, right? So I'm thinking about my partner, or if I'm alone, I'm like lack of partner. And again, I'm stressing myself out. And then make my way to the shower, and on the way to the shower I glance at myself in the mirror and I roll my eyes again and I go, oh my dear Lord, I need to exercise more, I need to like get more fit, like what's happening to this body, I might need to lose weight, something is going on. And so I'm focused on my body and it's not positive, right? And then I make my way to the mirror and I'm like either putting on makeup or shaving or maybe both, and I'm like, oh, where did that double chin pop out from overnight? Oh my Lord, I need to do something about that, I should eat better. And then I think to myself, groceries, I have to do groceries. When do I have time to do groceries? Groceries, it's so crowded and such a mess and they're so expensive, and now I'm thinking about money and that I don't have enough money. And then I check my Facebook or my email and my Twitter and my Instagram and I'm like, oh dear God, now I have more things to do. Now I'm feeling more stressed. So I you know, if I do have kids, I hustle them out of the door, because now I'm thinking kids do not know the word hurry, right? And so I'm getting them out and I get into my car and I'm thinking, oh, I need new tires. When am I going to get the time or money to buy those tires? And so I'm thinking that, and I get in the car and I'm on my way to wherever, and I'm already stressed. And now people wherever I am can't drive, right? That is always the case. And so I get into probably a near car accident because those other people are pure idiots. And so I'm not even where I have to go yet, and I'm already completely stressed. I have pressed every single stress button because of the thoughts that have crossed my mind, and because I have believed those thoughts that have crossed my mind. In fact, I've never challenged any one of them. And they're all stories and they're all made up. Those thoughts that I believe every single morning as I do my same old routine trigger stress hormones in my body. They trigger the hormones of cortisol and adrenaline, and they make my brain go a little crazy. In fact, they trigger what we commonly know as the fight, flight, freeze, and disease hormones in my body. They also make my brain incoherent, right? They make me think that I am just in survival mode. They also make me produce high beta brainwaves, which again doesn't make me my shining best. So I'll tell you a story that exemplifies this. And it's about monks. It's an experiment that happened with some monks, and I'm not sure which monks they were, if they were Tibetan or what kind of monks, but they were studying kindness, and they just finished a lesson on kindness and how good it is to be kind and worthy, and they sent them off you know, to do their thing. So what the monks didn't know was that they half the monks were set up and half of the monks were not. All of the monks ended up passing somebody on the side of the road in distress that needed help. Half of the monks stopped to help this person, and half of the monks did not. And so you might be saying to yourself, well, if those are monks, maybe they chose the wrong profession, because monks are supposed to be kind and helpful, right? Maybe all of those monks were having a bad day. Maybe they had food poisoning for breakfast. Like, what? Why did half of those monks not stop to help that person? And as it turns out, the monks that did not stop to help the person were late for a meeting with their supervisor. They were experiencing high stress. And here's what happens when we experience high stress, even monks. We get tunnel vision, right? The brain convinces the body that you are in survival and that you need to do whatever it takes in order to survive, so that you become extremely tunnel focused. You disconnect from the rest of humanity. You feel alone, right? And you begin to look out for number one. I know that's my experience when I'm under stress. So let's see what else happens. Okay, so that's the monks, right? So if that happens to them, it certainly happens to me. Okay, so I'm going to move forward here. Okay. So let's take the things that we continue to do throughout the day that continue to press those hormonal buttons of stress that create adrenaline and cortisol. Multitasking, not sitting on our desks all day long, not going out for some fresh air, checking emails constantly, worrying and complaining. Worrying and complaining. Let's look at those two. Because if you are going to become a steel reinforced wall that's not affected by the waves around you, you're going to have to become immune to those things, right? So worrying and complaining, they're behaviors that come naturally to all of us when our bodies are flooded with stress hormones. Now let's look at your intention. What is your intention when you, let's take worrying first. What is your intention when you worry? Worrying is just making up stuff about the future. Or as we say in Trinidad, borrowing trouble from the future. The brain thinks that if you can make up or think ahead of all the potential things that could go wrong, that you would be prepared to deal with them. It's the old brain, the reptilian brain, and it is obviously wrong because, as you and I both know, things never turn out the way we expect them to, right? That's what the brain thinks it's doing when it's worrying, right? There's a saying in a Chinese adage that is used in Tai Chi often, which is, Qi follows Yi, which means that energy follows intention. So what is your intention when you worry? If it's to plan ahead for every possible thing that could go wrong, you are zapping your energy. You are throwing away that $100 of energy right then and there. Now let's look at complaining. So say for instance, I got cut off and nearly got in a bad accident on the way to wherever I was going. It might be a meeting, it might be work. Let's look at feelings. So a feeling, I would have feelings of being afraid, terrified, and feelings of being angry, right? That damn driver. So my feeling is going to rise, it's going to peak, and then if I leave it alone and I just witness it, it will drop. It'll take about 7 entire seconds to do that. But here's what most of us do. We get to work and we're like, oh my, you should see what happened to me today. I almost died, I almost crashed. You should see these people who cannot drive on the road. Oh my God, that person wasn't even looking where they were going. They just drove out in front of me, like broke a light. Like, okay, so there's the one time where I probably needed to debrief, but then I also write it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And then at lunchtime, I meet somebody for lunch and I say, you wouldn't believe what happened to me. Oh my gosh, this person, like I almost died. Like, and then I tell it when I get home, and then I tell it again and again and again. And every time I tell it, which is, you know, complaining about the bad drivers, the feeling rises again. The feeling rises again and again and again. And my brain begins to believe that the world is an unsafe place and I need to be extra vigilant. So complaining keeps the feelings going because feelings love themselves. And it continues to trigger. It's like pressing a button that says, give me some more adrenaline, give me some more cortisol. I love that stuff, right? Unfortunately, it's not good for us. So how do we rise above these habits that we naturally get into of thinking just about ourselves, about complaining, about worrying? How do we do that? If I could draw some circles for you, I would, but I'm going to imagine. So I'm going to use my finger. So I'm going to draw 3 concentric circles. So that's a big word. I had to look it up. No, 3 circles, one inside the other, right? And in the middle circle, I'm going to write complete control. And then in the second circle, I'm going to write some influence. Right? And then in the final outer circle, I'm going to write no influence. Now I'm going to invite you to think of the 3 things that you worry about all of the time, or the 3 people, the 3 things that stress you out. Just simply let them come to mind while I turn my page. And as you think about them, and you think about the people or the things you stress about the most, which circle would you put them in? In the circle of absolute control, the circle of some influence, or the circle of no influence? So according to Byron Katie, one of my gurus, there's my business, which is the middle circle, right, where I have complete control. Then there is your business, where I may possibly have some control if you ask me for your opinion, or if you are a small child. And then there's that outer circle where I have no influence. And that would be natural disasters, illness, death, things that happen to us that are beyond our control. Now, when I'm not in my own business, when I'm not in that center circle, basically I'm taking my $100 of energy I had for the day and pitching it out the door. Right? I am completely wasting time and actually pressing the button of stress, right? It doesn't mean you'll stop having opinions or judgments or want things to be different. The difference is you will stop creating a stressful environment in your body because of it. You'll be able to step back and notice where your brain just went in judgment or wanting to change things. And like me, I've developed this habit. I watch my judgy McJudger and I smile. I'm like, well, that is interesting, that judgment you just had, or how you decided you wanted that to be, or how you thought that person should live their life, right? I sit back and I look at them and I smile. And that stops my adrenaline from flowing in my body. So it means that we don't throw our bodies into survival mode by mentally rehearsing negative stories, which is worrying or judging. It means we accept what is happening and deal with the reality versus wishing things were different. People don't always drive well, right? That's a reality. So the worrying and complaining and fretting about it becomes a habit, which leads to the wall that's crumbling just depending on which wave is coming to hit us. Now, as you look back on your circles, where would you put those things that you worry about the most? Would you put them completely in your control, or would you put them somewhere else? Okay, so now that we know about how our brain tends to keep us in adrenaline and cortisol, what can we do? What's the next strategy? What can we do to rise above it? To switch off the adrenaline and move into really different brain waves. Let's see. Because when the body cannot turn off the survival alert response, it cannot repair itself. It cannot bring itself back down to baseline. It's like putting out fires all day long in the body, which leaves it no time for building projects, which means repairing, restoring, keeping us healthy, keeping us young, keeping us vital. And who doesn't want that, right? Okay. So when we are in adrenaline and cortisol again, melatonin levels go down. And if you know anything about melatonin, it's the hormone that helps you get to sleep. It is the hormone that repairs the body. Think about it. In antiquity, in those old days when we were chased by Conan the Barbarian and a saber-toothed tiger, if you were on alert and you needed to stay alert, you needed not to sleep at night in order to save your life. It's the same. It's why we have trouble sleeping when we are experiencing tons of stress. The brain thinks it's keeping you alive. It doesn't realize that all of this stuff is stuff that we are creating in our heads because we are telling ourselves that it's worse than it actually is. Also, we don't produce serotonin, which is the thing that makes us feel good and want to sing and get out of bed every day, right? So who wants to live longer and healthier and have tons of serotonin? I'll take it. I'm going to teach you how to activate what's called your relaxation response, which is the fastest way to turn off the adrenaline coursing through your veins, right? And one of the easiest ways I know. I use it all of the time. So there are a couple of steps to using or to understanding the relaxation response. Now, relaxation response is different from just relaxing, like going for a walk or reading a book or watching something good on TV. It's actually something that you do to train your nervous system and your brain so that no matter who or what is happening around you, you are the wall. All right, so you're interested? I hope you are. Let's do it. The good news is you cannot be in stress and relaxation response at the same time. It's physically impossible. So as soon as you move yourself into this state, the adrenaline starts leaving the body and you are no longer experiencing stress. When this happens, your blood pressure drops, your metabolic rate increases. That means you metabolize carbohydrates better. Like, I'm interested. Your anxiety decreases, your depression decreases. It makes it harder for you to get upset by people who are sent to try you. And you can be the wall, right? Now, it takes about a month of using and practicing this every day for you to start develop a neurocircuitry in your brain, which makes it easier to do no matter what. So make a commitment to yourself, to me, post it, that you would be willing to try this for 1 month straight, so that you can be a wall, so that no matter what's going on or who's going on, you are not a victim of circumstances. Let's do it. The first piece of this is called the breath. It's about the breath. And the breath interrupts the stress response in 3 minutes. Research shows us that it takes that long for the brain to understand that you're not dying, right? And the second step is called accepting reality or benign kindness. So just non-judgmental, accepting the way things are. And the third is to actively switch, actively switch the focus of the brain from imagining the worst thing possible to something different, which I'll show you in a minute, as soon as I get my voice back. Okay, so let's start with the breath. Have you ever watched a baby breathe? And naturally, you'll see their tiny little stomachs rise and fall. And until we unlearned how to breathe, we also breathe like that, right? When we have rapid, shallow breath, it's because we're stressed and we're like looking to get away, right? So let's test your breathing right now. It's going to be the easiest test you've ever taken. You don't even have to study. Put one hand on your breastbone like this, and then one hand on your belly button. Close your eyes for a minute and just simply notice what's moving. Is it the breastbone as you breathe, or is it your stomach that's moving in and out? If your belly is moving in and out like a Buddha without forcing it, then that's the kind of breathing you're looking for. It's called diaphragmatic breathing. And it'll stop you from getting pregnant as well. Just kidding. So here's another way to do this. It's really helpful if you lie on the floor, but because we're not going to do that, if you point your elbows out like this, stick your elbows right out and breathe, you will naturally breathe through your diaphragm. So do it with me and just notice that your stomach goes in and out as you breathe. If you do that for 3 minutes, you will switch off your adrenaline cortisol button. It happens, right? Okay. The next step is the other. Now that you got the breathing down, we're gonna do the other 2 steps. So you can keep your eyes open, or you can close them for this. You can do it sitting, walking, standing. So you're gonna put your left hand on your heart, and I'm holding my notes, but I want you to also put your right hand behind your head like this, so your elbow is sticking out, so you have to breathe from your diaphragm. Okay, so you should not be drinking. You don't have anything in your hand. Close your eyes for a minute, and I want you to start breathing. And here's the key, and there's been research done on this. I want you to imagine that the breath is actually that you're breathing from your heart, right? It's a strange concept, but pretend that the breath is coming in and out from your heart. And as you breathe in, I want you to think of the word space. Breathe in on the word space. And then when you breathe out, I want you to breathe out the word calm. And so let's do it now, right? Let's just do a practice. Ready? Hand. Now I can't do it, but you do it. Ready? Close your eyes. And in, space. And then out, calm. In, space, out, calm. In, space, out, calm. 2 more. In, space, out, calm. Last one, make sure your belly going in and out. In, space, out, calm. I bet you feel calmer. Space to me is a magic word, because what it does is it helps you switch from that story you've been telling yourself about that irritating person or whatever circumstance, right? Space makes you have to switch from that story to nothing, right? And then you can move from there to something like calm. It gets you off the track of just pushing adrenaline drugs in your body, right? So this is a tool that you have to train yourself in for 30 days. Again, if you have a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, I want you to write this. My goal, G-O-A-L, is to, very good, Joanne, to feel and act like a wall. That's your goal. Okay, if you want to write it down, that's awesome. Then I want you to write down how. Practice the relaxation response daily for 30 days. Practice the relaxation response for 30 days. I'm going to make it easy on you. I want you to start with 1 minute every day for the first week. Time it. Set your phone. 1 minute every day for the first week. And then I want you to start increasing it by a minute every day for the next 30 days. I love to get like a 30-day calendar and tick it off so I feel like impressed with myself and proud, right? And then you start to create a habit in your brain. The longer you do this for, especially when you get up to like 20 minutes of breathing in and out, you'll notice your mind is like a little miserable puppy. And it wants to do things and go places, and it's like, oh, please give me some coffee now, and do we have to sit here any longer? Just gently bring it back to the breath. Gently bring it back to breathing from your heart and thinking about space and calm. You will be the wall. No matter what happens around you, people will say, what happened to you? You're looking so calm, right? It doesn't matter. So the part of your brain, we're beginning to wrap up now, and the part of your brain that notices your mind creating stories or noticing that you're milking your feelings for all that it's worth, notices that you're complaining, that part of you is called the witness. And it's beyond your ego and it's beyond your personality. And it is the only place that you can change from. This is the part of you that's going to build that wall that I was talking about. It is, now this is so important, it is the part of you that watches what you are thinking, and it watches what you're feeling. It watches your judgments, right? It has the power to rise above all of that. It has the power to say, look at, switch. Right now what you're doing is not helpful, and you need to stop and do that relaxation response thing, even though you don't feel like it. When you just listen to your feelings, you're being run by your body. I want you to be run by that higher thing called your witness, right? That is the part of you that decides whether you're going to be in your own business or you're going to worry about something you cannot control and throw away all of your energy for the day. That is the part of you that knows that you're having an unhelpful thought right now that's possibly not even true. That's the part of you that is aware of what feeling you're feeling, right? And it can decide to let the feeling have its 7 seconds and not decide to talk about that thing over and over again and complain to everybody you know. That's that part of you. That's the place that you change from. You can develop that part of you that can actually make choices, right? By learning to do this relaxation response, by coming back to the moment, so that tomorrow morning, when you wake up and you open your eyes, you'll start a different habit of thinking, right? You'll look across to the person next to you and maybe you won't think, I should have married for money. You look in the mirror and you might not think, oh Lord, what happened to this body? You might go, you know what? Thank God this body made it through another night. And thank God this body can move and dance and have fun. And you might look in the mirror in your face and you might think another thought. You might think, you know what, honey, it's going to be okay today. So you're going to change the habit of those thoughts, and that's the place you're going to change from. It's called the higher self. So in conclusion for tonight, William James said, the greatest revolution of our time is the knowledge that human beings, by changing their inner attitudes, by changing their inner attitudes of their minds, can transform the outer aspects of their lives. It all begins in here. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. I'd love to hear what different thoughts you have tomorrow morning as you wake up, and I'd love to hear how you're doing with your 30 days of learning and practicing the relaxation response. Please, if you found this helpful, share it. And next week, Monday, I'll be on again. And then for 2 more Mondays, I'll be on again. And in February, I'll be offering a 7-week virtual course on creating happiness. So if you want more information on that, just message me. And until then, be passionate. I'll see you next Monday. Take care.